In a world of shiny helmets, spandex jumpsuits, and strange monsters, these heroes force feed you a bowl of awesome that is the Tokudon Podcast. Join Carl and Rob as they haphazardly welcome you to the exciting genre of Tokusatsu. Now, open wide.
Hello, friends! How are we doing today?
Hi, guys.
Welcome back to Tokudon, the new and improved Tokudon 2.0, I guess.
We look so good. We look so good,
fucking good.
So good, man.
Yeah.
How you been?
Well, I'm fucking exhausted. That's really what it is.
Yeah, I think it's been between the fog of euphoric haze that we were in yesterday never really wore off. I think I might have passed out for like 2 hours and then woke up thinking like, was that real? That happened, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that happened. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's been the same for me. I'm still kind of like, wow, what the hell?
Yeah, it's been wild. So for anyone who doesn't know, and I apologize for anyone looking at the stream, I'm fixing things live as we're going.
Give him time. Technical.
It's not really difficulties. It's just you moved like an asshole.
Oh, all right.
You're
Stop
good.
moving. Rob.
Stop moving.
All right.
Stop switching sides. I had you nice and lined up.
My bad.
But yeah, we spent Saturday, thanks to Team Ryder, hanging out at New York City Comic Con.
Muchas gracias.
Yeah,
thousand thank yous. I can't even express how awesome it was. Like,
yeah. So
let's try.
Yeah. So for reference, I don't know if I've ever talked about it on stream, but one of the things that I've always had as a goal as a creator with this podcast in general was to be invited to a con, as a guest, as you know, for a panel specifically. And one of those dreams essentially came through, which was amazing to see. Team Ryder hit us up and we're like, hey, do you guys want to come hang out at NYCC? We were just like, what the fuck? Okay, yeah.
Wait, like who? Wait, are you sure? Wait, Carl, are you sure they sent that to us? Like, are you sure we didn't
I was like,
get, like,
you know,
this?
I know we hang out on the streams and do the, like, I hang out on the streams, do the panels, but like, are you guys sure you want me to come hang out in the booth? Like, is that cool? Or so
us, right? You know who you're us. Okay,
these dinguses, yeah.
Because we'll show up.
Yeah. So it was very cool, very surreal. They did an amazing good deed, in my opinion, and literally made a dream come true of mine.
They did.
And it was at one point I felt like crying. It was very emotionally what's the word I'm looking for? It was just a lot of emotions. That's what it was. It was and not negative in any way, shape, or form. I don't want anyone to think like, you know, the crying was negative. Like, I was stupid happy and grinning ear to ear most of the day. When we got there, we got the tour of the booth. Bandai had like a third of the floor. It was ridiculous. Absolutely wild. We got a tour. I got to see a Gundam base for the first time.
Yeah,
you know, if you guys watch the streams outside of the podcast, you know I love me my Gundams. So I was like a kid in a goddamn candy store. Like, we walked in and we just kind of like muscled past.
We walked in because we weren't sure if we could. They gave us passes and we weren't sure if we could just like assume that we could just approach anything. We were still like, you know, hey, we know it's cool that we're here, but we don't want to push
should I get in the line,
like,
or what's up?
Is it cool that we're even here? Like, do they mind? Are we in the way? So we're just like, you know what? Let's take a look. And it became like basically like our golden ticket. Like, we just walked around in this haze because it was like we could. Yeah. You were just like, they were like, guys, go have fun.
Yeah, they were like, just wander around, and we were like,
just wander around.
Wait, really? We can just wander? Okay.
You know what blows my mind, bro? Like, we were there, what, 5 hours, 6 hours, and
something like that.
We mostly stayed in the Bandai section, but given that time we were there, we still didn't see everything in the Bandai section. No. Like, we still didn't get to do everything that was possible there. And I came to find out, bro, I don't know if you heard yet, but did you know Jensen was there?
Jensen Ackles?
Jensen was there, man.
Oh man. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
So
yeah.
this was literally normally when we go to a con, we kind of at least like pick out some things we're going to check out, get some kind of itinerary plan. This was literally, okay, we're going to show up. We don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
But we're going to wing it like we always fucking do. We're really good at
find a way.
If you guys haven't noticed, the theme of the show is just wing it.
We find a way. We make it happen.
Yeah. So it was so surreal. Like, walking into exhibits and things, and we even got like a cool secret room that we were allowed to hang out in, and it was just the whole thing was so surreal and so cool. I don't know how to explain or if I even can talk about, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So I'm sorry, Team Rider, if you guys see this, I'm sorry. We were 10 feet away from an entire Super Riot team for about an hour.
Bro, we could see them having the greatest conversation. They were just chit chatting, yakking, chuckling away, doing their thing, and we're just like, these guys are actually here.
Yeah, no, that's Super Riot. That's the Ultraman guys. And there was literally a guy in an Ultraman suit. They had an actor in an Ultraman suit. Like it was so crazy. There were CEOs. There was all kinds of people that like. I don't get starstruck. It's just not my thing. People are people. It was surreal environment to be in. That's all it was.
I think we commented on that because it was a moment where we were even though it was a surreal moment, the people around us were just being like normal people. Like
one guy was just watching wrestling videos on his phone, and the entire time runs the toy division. like, oh, okay, cool.
I'm like, that's the kind of people that run the stuff that we love, the kind of people that are like us. I'm like, this is refreshing as hell. Because even the cosplayers that were getting dressed, and there was like a whole entourage of like cosplayers, dude, and they were so good suits. The Ultraman suit you just mentioned, clean. Although, I mean, who was the one that kind of had an issue? I can't remember, but there was one that had a little bit of a wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, it was some cosplayer. I have no idea.
One of them.
Anyway, it was just like it was so crazy to just be in that situation, and we were talking about how the fuck did we even get here?
And it was like just us doing exactly this.
Just, it was weird to just be like, yo, I be a dum dum in a microphone, and I'm standing in a goddamn like
room full of the people who make it happen.
Lounge for just like big high up world people to hang out in. Like there was a reporter from France hanging out in there. I was like, what the hell, man?
That guy, and he had a dope book bag. What was it? I think it was I don't remember. Death Note book bag.
Probably.
I think it was Death Note book bag.
But it was a very surreal experience, and I can't thank Team Rider enough for letting us have that experience. I know Jem and Fee, friends of the podcast, they've been on here 100 times. We love those guys to death. They were there today hanging out. We did not get a chance to hang out today. We couldn't swing it, unfortunately.
Had to make it happen, guys.
There was a panel today. They showed the last 2 episodes of Fudo PI. I'm waiting to see if someone will answer my text about how that went.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, no, it was. I can't thank Team Rider enough for the opportunities they give us and the love that they give us. And most importantly, at around 2:00 yesterday was the on Saturday, if you're listening in the future times, was the meetup that we were doing. And they had this whole lineup of, they had the Futo PI CSM, they had the Memorial Ichigo CSM, they had what else did they have? The 01 belt. They also had the Desire Driver, and
Oracle Driver,
the Oracle Driver, the CSM Oracle.
What else? And the Geats.
Yeah, the Desire Driver. Yep.
Yeah.
So in front of this huge display, this big Futo backdrop, we had a chance to hang out and just chill with probably 50 Kamen Rider fans. Just
non-stop. Everywhere you looked, a new face smiling. We were all having great time.
Yeah, bro. We were doing henshins on video. We were doing all kinds of great stuff. It was just such a refreshing experience, and like I said, I can't say it enough. It was just very surreal, but it was very refreshing at the same time to just be around the community. We'll get to our Toku, our hero spotlight in a minute. But we were living it. Like, that's why we started that segment. Like, it's about the love of the community and things like that. And like, everyone was laughing, having a good time. We were talking about Kamen Rider and everyone's favorite, and giving David shit about why he likes Gaim.
Well, I was defending David for a good majority of that, but it was an uncomfortable amount of blade love going on.
There was a lot of there was
like
a lot.
a
We
lot
literally
more
walked
blade
in,
love
and you
than I
guys know
really
my joke
wanted
at
to
this
deal
point.
with.
It's the goddamn Blade Gang, right? Like we pop up out of nowhere and we just rule the room. All of a sudden, David's like, "Yo, what's your favorite Kamen Rider?" And someone's like, "Oh, Blade." What's your favorite Kamen Rider? Blade.
Okay, we're done. Okay, we're done.
And I was like, brother, welcome.
Legit, but again, it just goes to show, like it's the environment. Like everybody's just embracing it. We were like, fuck you. What's up, man?
It was so cool to see. That is why we are the Crab Vi stamp.
Yes,
we spread that shit like wildfire.
It was dope.
Gary is asking who bought the most. It was me.
Technically, yes.
Yeah, we'll get to the buys in a second because we did get some Toku buys. I don't know if you have yours with you in front of you.
We had to. Oh, I have it. I didn't. You've taken yours off. I slept with it. I think I showered with it twice.
Well,
the batteries are still in there.
Yeah.
No. I have this thing. You'll see, guys. You'll see.
But yeah, the meetup was fantastic. We met a whole bunch of people. Welcome to the Blade Gang, Gary says. That's exactly what it was. Welcome to the goddamn Blade Gang. We were able to link up. We saw, like, we were walking around with the belts, some random people that we met a developer, Blizzard, who was just like, "Hey man, I love Kamen Rider. What's up?"
I love Kamen. Just a guy just chilling. Oh, he was dressed as
Taskmaster.
Oh my god, Taskmaster. Yeah, just a cosplayer who's a developer at Blizzard. Loved the Kamen Rider belts we had. He's just like
he immediately went over and bought one. Wild.
Yep. just a flavor of the. And we were just walking around, you know what I mean? It wasn't part of the meetup thing. Literally perusing through, trying to find our way through everything. And the amount of insanity that we encountered and didn't see. Yeah. I'm so excited to do this again, bro. And when we get a chance, we have to make it happen because there's no way that I'll miss this again. No way.
No, it was, if offered the opportunity, I would 100% do it and make sure I can go for the entire weekend. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I can't thank Team Rider enough for giving us that opportunity and also, sharing the love and like they do great work. I think some people give them way too much shit because they're on the front lines doing it and they can't make everyone happy. But that's,
it's
a
tough.
fandom. So
listen, it was not for nothing, but to give them a little bit more. Dave took a couple minutes to break down, some of the stuff that they struggle with just to get what we got. And, we bellyache about wanting what we get sometimes. Yeah. However, appreciate that fact that there is somebody out there advocating for even a fraction of the things that they can get.
Yep.
So it's worth the fight.
He kind of explained. He gave us the lowdown on some things we can't talk about, honestly.
Right, exactly. Like I'm trying to be ginger about it. So.
Yeah, some things we can't talk about, but also he gave everyone at the meetup kind of like how it works and how he had to fight to get the Desire Driver over here, which he shouldn't. Like we all know that we shouldn't. I think we have done more than enough to prove that it's popular in the West and outside of Japan. I shouldn't even say just the West. It's just outside of Japan, and. It's frustrating for David, who has to have that conversation every week with the execs and all this kind of stuff. So he was just kind of saying like, if you want to, they got a little heat for being like, show the support, but like they have to keep showing it to them. And they don't know why they have to keep showing it to them, but they do. So he was also telling us that Super Raya is much easier to work with than Toei. So,
and that's all we'll say. That's all we will say.
That's all we will say. So have fun with that, friends.
But other than that, I mean, we did get to see a bunch of great things that they have. All the Dragon Ball figures, all the Gundam figures. They have Elden Ring figures that I want so badly. Mm-hmm. Shout outs to those. Like this is and
so this happened.
That did happen.
And the only ID core that needs to be.
You just blow out our speakers now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna blow out my fucking microphone. So, most importantly, here we go, friends. I've never actually heard these sounds because it was very loud when we bought these. So,
it was so loud. That's so nice.
And then the most important one from today's episode.
Ooh.
Zombie boost, baby.
Oh God.
Beautiful. And then, of course, you can do...
Oh, no.
Did you guys see what this one is? It's a giant rocket punch.
Yeah.
It's a zombie rocket punch. And then, of course, you can...
Because why not?
Why not? That's all.
What's scarier than a running zombie? A boosted Kamen Rider
rocket arm zombie. That's what's scary. Who has a large orange hand on its foot.
He has.
You prefer dangerous zombie? I prefer that we don't talk about dangerous zombie because dangerous zombie is poopy doo caca. So
no, dangerous zombie. What's the new one? There's like a super form of it. That thing. That's a little scary.
Are you talking about the Kamen like Muteki thing?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's the same thing, but there is like a super zombie shit. If they're doing anything with it, watch it come back. Because of my theory.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's if Kuroto comes back. So, it is.
He will.
Sure. Why not?
Calling it.
Why not?
But I have.
Move it more to your chin. We can't see it. There you go. Yeah, he was rocking a Magnum Boost. Yes. Classic. He was going OG, and then so I bought the one that came with the zombie hand. Obviously, he bought the OG one, but they both came with the armed hammer, little buckle. I can't hear it.
It's like right here.
Oh, maybe it's just blowing it out so it can't hear it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way you're not hearing that.
No, it can't hear it at all. That's crazy.
Wow.
It's so loud. It just blows the microphone out where the microphone's like, nah, I'm good.
But that's my point. That's how loud it was, and we couldn't even hear it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the insanity that this place was. But I gotta say, like, there was no way I was leaving without the Desire Driver. As soon as they displayed it, fair price. Can't even argue with the price because son of a bitch.
It was your average DX. It was $70 flat and then tax, can't argue with that. So yes, thank you Team Rider so much for giving us that experience and letting me be able to live out my Buffa fantasies. So that is that.
In
and
so many ways.
I am so excited to pick up the Ninja Driver or the Ninja Buckle and then do Zombie Ninja and then never take off the buckles ever again.
It looks so good. I'm so surprised how good that looks. The only thing that throws me with the Ninja is the gear. I don't understand the gear.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, we'll see.
But it's green,
but I mean, I guess it's like clockwork kind of thing. But Gary's also asking what our favorite non-Toku thing we saw was. Non-Toku thing. We honestly didn't spend a lot of time not.
That's the thing. Like I'm telling you guys, we spent that much time there, and we didn't see like half of what was there.
It was like we've tried to find gifts for people that we were getting gifts for, and then we like hung around the Bandai booth. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, and it was just like that blur of like trying to find something, even engaging with the people that we met along the way. It was like so surreal. Like I'm telling you, the whole time we were there, we're like, we need to sit down and realize that this is actually happening. Like, this is so awesome, every bit of it. And I'm regretting it because, like, dude, next time we're gonna go prepared and we're gonna see freaking everything because we missed Jensen Ackles, and I'll never forgive myself.
He'll be back. It's fine. For me, I think the coolest non-Toku thing we saw was probably the Gundam base.
Question. The Gundam base for you.
Yeah, it was definitely the Gundam base. I think there's been a pop-up in New York once in a while. This might be the first one, I'm not sure. But like LA gets the Gundam base stuff all the time. I've never actually seen one. They had I think it was a 1/3 scale statue of RX-78-2 doing the last shooting pose, and it lit up and did noise, and the beam rifle noise, the iconic beam rifle noise would come out of it, and it lit up and did all this cool stuff. And just walking around and seeing all these Gunpla kits. I bought 2 Gunpla that were from my childhood that I haven't seen printed in years.
Oh man, yeah, and they are nice. They're so nice.
They're very. I actually started building them. I have my friend's little head right here. Yeah, it's hard to see, but he's right here, and here's a shoulder piece. If you can tell what Gunpla this is from the head and the shoulder, please.
You'll earn 7 points.
Yeah, you earn channel
7
points.
Channel
Maybe.
points, yes.
If I can figure out how to give them out. But yeah, did we try New York pizza? We did not, because I don't.
No, because it was one thing. Like, we were there trying to even find a bathroom. Like, it took like 20 minutes just to go.
We literally went to the convention center and went back to the car. Like, we didn't really walk around New York.
No, we didn't risk it because it was just like, you know what, we're here for a purpose. Let's get that done, and let's make sure that we don't step on anybody's toes and overstay our welcome.
Yeah,
because we want to do this again, and it'd be nice. So.
Yeah. But it was, yeah. Like,
I think I did a thing. I think you have the picture. That my favorite non-toku thing is I did the thing.
The breaker thing.
Yeah, that was my favorite non-toku thing.
Let me see. I put it on Twitter. Let me pull it up.
I would say that because we were just walking through. We saw one of the displays that they had for the Breakers game, and I'm like, that's fantastic. I can't pass this opportunity up. And I gave you a new profile picture too. That's another one of my favorites. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got distracted by someone tagging me in. We'll look at that in the news. Team Rider gave out like new designs that they're doing, apparently for T-shirts and stuff. And
yeah, oh yeah, they did have these new Geats colored ones.
Yeah.
Nice.
So let me just pull it up real quick. Where's my thing? I did find a giant Godzilla, guys, and took a picture in front of it.
There was, and that's your new profile pic. There was a giant Luffy. There was taking a shit in everybody. He was in the squat pose. I think was that gear 3, gear 2?
That was gear 2, yeah.
Gear 2, yeah.
So here is the wonderful Breakers picture that Rob took. That gives me a good chuckle every time I look at it. So
I wasn't passing that up. It was too good.
Yeah.
But the guy there, he was just like, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Gary, I'm just saying, if you don't like the ads, you could subscribe. Just saying.
It's a possibility, man.
It's a possibility. They go away.
Helps you, help us, help you, help us, help you.
But here is Rob's favorite moment, the little Breaker photo display that they had. I don't think you should post up when you get a chance that like doofy picture of me in the boxer cutout thing.
Oh yeah, I have that. I'll send it to you. Here,
you can just post it. You don't have to send it to me. It's fine.
All right, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, it was absolutely the Gundam base. I childhood that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was not Endless Waltz Heavy Arms. Please, I am a man of culture. Get out of here. It's GPO1 and GPO2 because I had to buy them together. That's the master grades. I am not a clown, literally.
And I don't know how that works. Like, I know the scales are different. I think we went over it one time, but I didn't know which ones you grabbed.
I got the ones that end up being around 8-9 inches tall. They're a little bit taller, more complicated.
Those boxes were pretty huge.
Yeah, the boxes are pretty big. So just to give you an idea, I actually have this. So this is an HG 144. You can see it's about the size of my hand. It's about 5 inches tall.
Gotcha.
And then this is the Dynames we started building on stream, and you can see it's about 60% bigger. So
gotcha.
it'll be he'll be here, he'll stand about here, kind of thing. So
that's nice.
Yeah, okay. They're about 60% bigger. It's 1/100 versus 1/144. So that's
the statues that they had. The statues and they had these displays. I can't even remember all of them, but they were just so amazing. I think I have
the only one I remember was the Gundam one, obviously, like I said, and then there was also they had a really cool, regardless of how I feel about the movie, the statue was really cool. It was a life-size Orange Piccolo and Gohan in beast form, I think.
Yeah.
Was it in beast form or was he just normal? I don't know, whatever.
I think it was just normal. I don't think they
may
had
have been
beast
normal.
figure.
But it was very cool to see them just chilling in like life-size statues. That was really cool to see. They also had the Gamma, whatever the second one is. They had like the huge action figure thing they've been touring around in the display and stuff like that. They had a Jolly Roger. If anyone's familiar with One Piece, they had a huge Jolly Roger. That's the ship that was chilling there.
They had an Ultraman that you posed next to.
Yes, there was a Taro armor from the Netflix Ultraman show.
Yep. Oh god, there was so much good shit there, guys.
It was very cool, very awesome to hang out at. I had never been to New York City Comic Con either, so it was cool to check that one out. Last time I was in New York, I was like the Art Museum many moons ago.
Oh, that Trunks figure too. There was a Trunks and Cyber Frieza.
Yes,
just as he's getting parted. Oh my god, I wanted it so bad.
Figure Arts Zero. If you guys are familiar with those, they're very super stylized. I think most of them light up at some point. This one in particular was Trunks cutting Mecha Frieza, so it was very cool. So
nice.
Yeah. NYCC, that is a wrap. Tokudon, hung out there for the weekend. Thank you again, Team Rider, for giving us that opportunity. It was once in a lifetime. Hopefully not the last time, though.
No, we'll do it again.
Yeah. So maybe we'll go to some other state or something sometime. I don't know. This one just happened to be close to us, so it was easier to get to. Who knows?
Yeah. It's definitely worth the trip, though. So wherever it's going to be, if we get the invite, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. So make sure if you guys were at NYCC, let's see some pics. Post them up. Send them to us.
Definitely, guys.
And yeah, I'm excited to see what came out of the panel today. So we'll get to that when we get to the news, because I know Toku Nation did an article about it. But let's get to our subject at hand today. So we're talking about a little ditty, a little thing, a little project called Garo versus Road is our subject for the day.
This actually was the one thing I needed to bring me back down from that euphoria. Because wow, man, I was either not prepared for this, or I wanted this so bad that once it started, I could not disengage from it. I think the only thing that stopped me was that I had to sleep. Like, I couldn't stop watching this shit.
So Garo versus Road, for anyone who's not familiar, is a new timeline in the Garo universe.
Oh, really?
Yes. So this is now the, I guess, I don't know if we're going to count. If we're not counting the animes, it's the third universe within the Garoverse. So it's its own continuity. It's its own thing. To me, though, and we can get to specifics why, it kind of seems like it's an alternate spinoff of the first series. Like an alternate kind of how that played out. But that's completely headcanon. That's not official or anything like that. That's just kind of details that we picked up on as we were going through it. I was like, oh, wait, maybe that's what that is. So this is a death game style Garo. So essentially, they gather 100 people to compete for an armor. Just also let me know if you've heard this one before. They compete to have a wish granted, and they have to kill each other along the way, and they find out that there's a little more to this game than just playing it. And when you die in the game, you die for real.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How would you like your guns injected with a little bit of tokusatsu?
All I'm saying is there's a theme to what we've been seeing a lot of lately, and it's even I would say in the last like 3 years, we've seen a lot of these death game style things. This came out before Squid Game. I'm just throwing that out there. This came out before Squid Game.
2020. Yeah, 2020.
It also came out before Alice in Borderland. I don't think the manga though. I think the manga was out. But
well, maybe, but the concepts were out there. But the
concepts
idea is
aren't anything new. If anyone has seen Battle Royale, that kind of jump started this whole thing. Hunger Games literally ripped off Battle Royale, and I will accept nothing else. So that's what happened.
So much better. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Don't you love that? Oh.
So
can't get enough of them. There's a new one. Sorry.
I didn't even know. I never. Nope.
Yeah, anyway. So Versus Road is freaking not Hunger Games, but it is absolutely the darkest thing that I've seen since Hokkaido, maybe. Like,
okay.
Wow.
Yeah, no, this gets pretty intense. This is I would put it on a level of like Amazon's, honestly, in the nature of the show that just kind of is like, yeah, people suck. Let's put them in this death game situation and see how they can dick each other over in the craziest ways. Yeah,
you don't get because it's a game, because they go through the same structure, you go through the same expectation. They're not taking it serious at first, then it becomes serious, and then the shit hits the fan so hard that the fan stops. You know what I mean? Like it breaks the blades off the fans for these characters.
Fan shorts out, and then it just does its thing.
But it works because there's the story that they tell works so well because of the characters that are in this story. And I credit this so much because I don't think let's get one thing for people who are expecting one and getting another. Yes, this is a tokusatsu series, but you're getting two henshins.
You get one technically.
Well, yeah, technically you get one good one and then another one. But
he just puts it back on.
Yeah, so the idea is that it's not about the toku that you're used to.
Yeah.
This is a character driven, almost J drama, like legit J drama with martial arts and wire fu and magic. Like it is that good because of the story they tell with these fucked up characters. And you're not nobody's a good guy.
And I
There's
think
no good guys.
These like death game style stories live and die by the characters that are involved, right? Like you can't have like tournament arcs in general. Like this is essentially a tournament arc, right? You can't have a good tournament arc if you don't have interesting participants. And we hit the whole gamut because there's 100, entrants in this. We hit the whole gamut of shy people to shy and insane people to yakuzas that just start murdering people to we have the hero boy who may or may is our main character. He's Mr. Hero Man. And the interesting part about Kuon the interesting I was gonna say, because the interesting part about Kuon is our main character. He is the hero man. He wants to save everyone in this game. He's trying to protect his friend Hoshii, and childhood friend, weird. I should say. And also kind of just save whoever he can because he thinks this game is ridiculous. Again, don't stop me if you've heard this one before. But the cool thing about Kuon is that he is not immune to the sway of this game, to where he is not like so pure-hearted that he is immune to like the draws of just surviving, essentially. He's giving into the Lord of the Flies island. He is not immune to its pull, its influence. I feel like a lot of these stories, they have that one character that's like, no, we have to save everyone. Kuon has a few moments where you're like, I mean, intellectually, I assume he's not going to because he's the main character, but there's a couple moments where I'm like, oh shit, is this going to be like it? I should also say that this is my second watch of the show. I did watch this back when it aired back in 2020. So it was interesting watching it again.
I think it does require multiple showings because I watched it, I enjoyed it, but I know like whatever I pulled from it, even though my knowledge of Garo isn't as vast, but I think this is so self-containing that it's telling its own story enough that the elements that it's giving from Garo are strictly, I'm assuming, not just in name but in concept. You know what I mean? Like it's just the idea. So it's not anything.
Some of the general concepts that we kind of get from the Garo verses in general, right? So we have three different main live action universes. We have the Ryuga verse, we have the Koga verse, and then we have the now the VR verse, I think they call it. Which is our versus road VR. Get it? VR verse.
Clever.
So in your typical, in Ryuga and Koga's universe, essentially we have this order of priests and knights that fight demons known as horrors. Essentially they are, if anyone's familiar with Persona, they're very similar. They're the internal nature of human beings that have festered, and through magic, Makai is the magical MacGuffin that they have in this universe. Through Makai, they fester and take form as horrors, and they become these human-eating, soul-taking monstrosities. And they usually wear like a human skin of some kind or possess people to get their way and influence them. And Garo was, I believe it started in 2001. It was on the late night block, so it wasn't on your typical superhero time with like Kamen Rider and Sentai. This was a later night show. So there's things like Boobus and also violence in lots of ADR. I don't know if you noticed that, but there is a ton of ADR in this show.
Listen,
and ADR, for anyone who isn't familiar, is the after dub. They're dubbing in the studio. It's clearly not recorded on site. That is ADR. The Garo project in general, the Garo team is notorious for crazy amounts of ADR. Shogeki Go Raigen, if anyone had ever seen that, that's pretty much pure ADR. Really? You would remember that show if I showed you a picture, because I remember you talking about how ADR it is.
Is it just because of that, or is it strictly because that's their trademark, or is it that they're just that bad at it?
I think it's, at this point, it's just the way that they do their workflow, honestly. And it adds things to things, and it makes things a little campier. It has its pluses and minuses, like CGI. It's going to be cool for some things, not as great for others. But the Garo verse, essentially, like I said, it's an order of priests and knights that are fighting these demons, and usually Makai priests are paired with a Makai Knight, and the Knights can have a chance to gain titles of armor. So there is Makai Knights who don't have armor. They're just warriors, but essentially when they ascend a level, they can get an armor. Garo, the Golden Knight, is like the one that everyone wants, and it's a lineage thing in the Kogaverse. You have to be born into that family, the Taiga family, and it is passed down through a lineage.
Character.
Yeah,
gotcha. Okay, got it.
And Ryuga, it's kind of like he earned it. He earned the title of Garo, is what it comes to. People have to earn the title. But when you have a lineage kind of thing like Taiga, it's kind of like, it's implied that you're going to take it. You still have to earn it, but like you're kind of expected to take it.
Even if you're shit.
Yeah, like you're not allowed to be shit because you're supposed to take the Garo title. That kind of thing.
You're like, okay, it's one of those boy situations.
Yeah, exactly. It's like y'all got standards to live up to. Just fucking chipper up here, champ.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and it's a little different in each one. Even in the animes, it's a little different in each one. There is 3 animes as well that, for the most part, kind of follow the same rules. This one seems to sort of follow the rules and sort of not at the same time. We have this order that's fighting horrors, and they do a earning ceremony for the Garo.
100 people, 100 heads show up to...
100 warriors come to try and claim this title, and they eventually have to like fight, and the strongest one gains the title. And essentially that's what this versus road game is based on, this contest of getting the Garo armor. They're trying to get the Garo armor so that their wish can be granted. They're told that it can be any wish. So you have people here for money, you have people here for power, you have people here because they're like, fuck this, I want to get out.
Yeah, some people don't even care about the prize. Like the prize is whatever you want, and some people are just there to cause hell, to fucking literally get their gun off. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's scary because when they realize that it's no longer a game, those people who still had motivations like that are vain,
no other
get even worse about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's the one character who's a YouTuber. Before we get there, let's do the synopsis for this.
Well, before we get there, Henshin Gate, what is up? Thank you for the follow. We met them at NYCC, actually. We were just talking about that.
What's going on,
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Thanks for hanging out.
So we have several characters, and I think the easiest way to go through it, because we have so many, is just kind of like give our take on what's going on with each of these characters. Because the story is essentially they're just getting thrown into these games, right? And they have
you already touched on Kuon. So Kuon's biggest character development has to go around his best friend, Hoshiai. Hoshiai is everything that he's not. He's weak, demure. He's very quiet. He's just a scrawny, skinny guy who hangs out with his strong friend.
He is a scrawny, skinny, like scaredy cat video game player, while Kuon is like your jock boy.
That's essentially what it
reboot.
Is.
He's
reboot.
What's his face? It's the football player and Kento from Forza. That's literally what they are.
Oh yeah, okay, that one.
And should get saying they're recovering. Yes, we all are, I think.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. My ankles are like, fuck you.
So Hoshiai is Kuon's childhood friend. It's always been like a Kuon saved him from bullying situation. That seems to be their whole tie. What did you think of Hoshiai as a character, though?
Up until when we get to that point,
just talk about it. I know. Just talk about it.
All right. So I really got the vibe that he was a genuine character until the very last moment where Kuon, but then again, it could have been the influence of the negativity, because there was so much of that, and that's why I think a second watching needed to happen, because as I thought about it more, the more I think maybe he really was a good character, but he was the only good character, because he saw Kuon start to slip into this negativity, and he didn't know why. Yeah. But he was just trying to stop them from going into the world again, because before they realized that it was for death, when it was just a game, it gave Hoshiai this vibe, and he's like, I don't think what's going on here is right, because from the jump, the games are brutal.
Yeah.
Like
the first one is literally only 50 of you can survive, outrun these horrors, which are stronger, faster, more intimidating. They're also restricted, but they're still 10 times faster than you are. And also you're gonna, and then you have Yakuza folk who are like, hey, you know what makes 50 go down faster? Let's just murder them. Let's just fucking murder them till there's only 50 left. Even if it's only 3 of us, let's just murder them.
And they don't shy away from the brutality that people do to each other. Like, it is literally like, one, you see like the crazy effects that they do with the horrors. When they grab somebody, they stab them with these antenna shits, I think in their eyes or in their forehead, wherever it is. Wherever it goes, it's not okay.
Yeah.
And you just turn into ash dust and they suck that up. And then
they Thanos you on a personal level.
And when you die in the game, you die for real. And you don't die right away.
No.
That's so
you
cool.
Die enough to have a dramatic outro. That's what happens.
And it's dope. That's done well. It's done so well the 3 times we get to see it. Like, so, it's actually, no, I'm not even gonna joke about that, because the one they got me.
Yeah.
The reason why we're speaking Hoshiai in past tense is because he doesn't make it past the halfway point of the show.
Yeah.
And it's the turning point of the show. Episode 6 is the most important episode of the show.
I wanted to text you about it, but I was like, hey, I need your input of this episode.
Yeah, I think that episode, is it 6, 5? I think 5 they find out, but 6 is when they deal with it.
6 is when the stuff happens.
Yeah, so 5 they find out that it's like life or death, and it's kind of like, really? No, you're fucking joking, and then it ends. And then 6 is when it's like, no, we're legit. You're all fucking dying.
Yeah, because in the previous game, we had someone be like, what if we don't want to participate? Like, can't I just go home? And they're like, sure, go ahead. And they send him out. But it's not like the usual death animation. They literally log him out. But Nagumo, who we'll talk about in a minute, who's a YouTuber, has a crew with him. He gets back from this game, and the 2 people that were with him, who he thought at least one was going to survive, both of them turn to dust. So when they die, they come back, their bodies literally dissipate into a Thanos dust. Quite literally. So Nagumo comes back, and these 2 compatriots that he had are just fizzle away.
Patriots.
Yeah, that's the best word I'm going to give them, because he's not exactly friends with them. So,
and it goes, and this is what we're trying to say. Like, the stories that they tell there's only 12 episodes, and each episode is like so full of these contextualized, fully fleshed out characters who have these conflicting, self-aware, conflicts. I don't mean to say it any other way. It's like they know what they have to do is so fucked up, but they have to do it because they don't want to die. You know what I mean? Like, it is such a fucked up situation that they're thrown in, and that's what had me so riveted. I'm like, damn, I know that obviously the main character is the main character, but each of these other characters have such a justifiable cause to survive, just to survive.
Know if justifiable is the word.
Well, no, what I mean is, like, all they want to do at that point, when it becomes just self-justifying. That's what I mean. They self-justify their motivations to survive, to do what they want to do, because they have to survive. It's so trippy, man.
And one thing I will say is it becomes, and it's kind of the curse of having only 12 episodes. It becomes very obvious who the final 6 are going to be, because they're the only ones getting any kind of explanation. You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple that hang in longer than I thought they were going to. But to finish up on Hoshiai, after they find out this is true death, Nagumo's trying to say, like, hey man, like, don't fuck around with this. This is real death. They essentially do a exploding battle royale type thing. They get these necklaces that have exploding bombs on them, and if they cross a certain threshold, the horrors will get them, and they have to also try and eliminate the however many. I think they have to cut it in half again.
That's when they find out that the death is for real, right? And that's how they deal with the situation, is because when they discover that you could push that button, and the person who does it is probably my second favorite character, in all honesty. There's a character called Takane Kozuki. Takane is my second favorite character due to what they do, how they did it. He is this androgynous model that basically...
I have a lot to say about Kozuki, so I don't want to get there just yet. So,
okay, that's fine. But anyway, so they're the reason.
Right,
they're the reason that they discover these. Oh, what's up, K20? They're the reason they discover the button. So anyway,
Yeah, because he just walks over and pops it, and they realize it killed him.
Let's establish something about Hoshiai. Up to that point, he's been the pacifist. He's been the
being
general
saved by
of,
Kuon.
Yeah, being saved by Kuon every fucking time in such awesome fight scenes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They are. So again, I just want to get off Hoshiai at this point because we're going to get sidetracked. Hoshiai
this is what we do here.
In the game, they are told that they can have essentially anything that they wish for. Whether it's a weapon, they're given an item that can transform into whatever they wish for. Their powers, big air quotes, their video game stats, their RPG loadout is basically whatever they ask for. And Hoshiai's has a moment where he starts to be able to fight. Like his wish is to be strong like Kuon, and that works for a little bit until the guy who's messing with him just fucks him up anyway. But
that's a problem.
So you see this kind of, he's trying to step up, he's trying to be like Kuon, but he kind of realizes that that's not him, and then what he needs to be is support for Kuon in a different way. Like Kuon saves him, but he needs to help Kuon because Kuon eventually gets influenced a little bit.
Yeah, the more Kuon saves him, the more Kuon loses himself to the consequences of saving him. Like he accidentally kills two people. Like not accidentally,
and that fucks with him.
He hurts them. He hurts them enough that they die. And he's like, oh shit,
and
like,
it's
I didn't mean to do that.
I'm not trying to fight, but at the same time I'm doing this, and there's like resentment that builds, and then the antagonist kind of influences that a little more, kind of like gives it a little like steroid boost, but eventually it comes down to Hoshiai trying to tell Kuon, like, hey man, like what's going on? We have to work together. Let's do this. And Kuon basically ignoring him and telling him to fuck off. And that's when Hoshiai is possessed by a horror. And eventually we have a long 10-minute death scene of Hoshiai where he has to press his own button on the back of his collar. And you hear the beep. And he's dead, right? So Kuon loses it.
Begging Kuon. He begs Kuon to kill him. He's like, please, I'm losing my sanity. Like, I'm losing myself. Please kill me.
While I'm still human, please kill me.
Yeah.
And they have a couple people that are like, I'll fucking do it. He's like, back the fuck off.
Back the fuck off. I'll kill you. Like, oh my God. And that's when I was like, and mind you, they're throwing flashbacks at you. They're pulling every trope and it's working. Cause I'm like, I can still see. It's okay. I can still see my screen. I'm slowly choking up. I'm like, damn, they did this part well.
Yeah.
Cause in the struggle, the final struggle where he attacks him, all because we're so used to hearing that beep. When you hear it, you're like, fuck.
Yep.
Fuck. Yeah. And that's it.
Yep. And that's it. So Hoshiai explodes. That's the end of the game. He ends up being the last one, and that's when the game is over.
Final down to 8. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. I think they cut it in half. I don't remember how many went into it, but essentially Kuon comes out of the game, is panicking, trying to call Hoshiai, and is like, it's just a game. They're not dying for real. It's just a game. And like you were saying, there's a delay on when their real body dissipates. So Hoshiai answers the phone and is just listening to Kuon lose his mind.
I'm sorry. I did
this. I'm sorry. And Hoshiai is trying so hard to answer, but he's literally disintegrating.
He's trying to speak as he's turning to Thanos Ash, guys. Yeah. Like it is. Oh my God. Perfect.
Wild. Absolutely wild. And that's the kind of shit where I was like, you got me, I'm in, I don't give a shit. Because we have not seen anyone actually do a henshin. To be upfront with everyone, you don't see anyone get in the Garo armor until episode 12. The last episode is when you actually see a straight up armor tokusatsu fight. And
for 20 minutes, but
for 20 minutes, and it's all CG, but that's whatever. But like, it's like you were saying, it's the characters that drive this, and this moment is like, okay, shit just got
only
real.
Built up for 5 episodes. That's only half the story, guys. Like, there's and that's what blew my mind. I'm like, whoa, we're already telling this, and we're only halfway through. Are you shitting me?
And I will say one thing with. So when Hoshiai dies, he kind of brings in this memento. It's a little toy sword of the version that Kuon had summoned. He summoned a sword because they bonded over it, kind of thing.
It's the Sword of Night and Flame.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. It's my thing with that is I will say I wish they gave us more of the Hoshiai Kuon before he died. like more of the flashback stuff, because I felt like the episode afterwards was very flashback heavy on things that would have made it hit a little hard. Not that it didn't hit hard, but made it hit harder if we had gotten this before he died.
So you just didn't want me to survive the episode. That's what you're saying.
Like,
you just wanted them to lay it so thick that anybody making it out of the episode is like dehydrated and now needs injections.
If you're gonna throw my feeling corpse into a ditch and bury it alive, you better stab it and pour acid on it too, because why the hell not at this point? You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things. Like, if you're gonna go hard, just fucking go all in. Yeah. And you know, with 12 episodes, the thing is too, we don't have as much time, so sprinkling those in a little more would have helped that be even thicker of a moment, because that's probably, I would say that's the most emotional moment. Not that there isn't other emotional moments, but that's probably the most impactful moment in the entire show. Dude. And that's halfway through it, so we still have 6 episodes to get through, and some shit goes down, and you have some interactions with other characters that are similar, but they don't hit nearly as hard.
They can't, because you still have like they even though they are, you know, rounded enough, they are still supplementary characters. So,
and I want to talk about Kozuki last, because there's a lot to that character, but
that's fine. That's fine. I'm okay.
To kind of play off that and where they have a not as impactful moment, let's talk about Hyuga and Kanata.
Okay, Hyuga was interesting, but only in the fact that I think that
he's my spirit animal.
Yeah, well, the character who portrayed him, it must have been like he was just like, so I just get to be me, like I can just be me.
My man was like so I suplex people and punch them.
He's the most natural character. I can't get enough of the idea that this. Oh, mind you, it took that moment to solidify the story to me. But what had engaged me the entire time is the fight sequences, and there's every episode has and they're not suited guys. These are the actors that themselves who are doing these fight sequences.
Actors and stuff. There's no henshins, like we said. They can make weapons. Like we said, they can summon weapons. That's the most henshining they do.
Yeah, and it's like Tony Jaa visceral impact. Like, they're showing impacts, they're showing dust fly. They're not holding back.
It's something. Watching it, this is where. So I'm gonna give. Watching it my second time. The first time I watched it, I was like, "Damn, these are really well done," and they are well shot. They're well choreographed. They're well shot.
Right. That's what I mean. Like,
watching it the second time, there's a lot of like hand flailing to make it look cooler. There's a lot of like.
But think of what it was at the time. They were flash pointing. They were, you know, Ip Man. I think that's why, because it was a lot of hand stuff because of Ip Man, because of
we
all
did
that
see that
shit.
One character that straight up did the Ip Man punches. I don't know if you remember that. He rolls Kuon across the floor and does the Ip Man punches.
And then there's moments in there where I think that it's towards the end where he's blocking the sword strikes, and the impact of the sword strike is scooting his ass back. Like, it's so wild. Like, and they're not henshined.
No. And like, there's cool. I'm not saying they're bad by any means. Like, they're good fight scenes. Like I said, they're well choreographed, they're well organized, they're well shot. It's just, there was like, watching it a second time, I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's not as cool as I remember.
That's fine. I'll keep it then, because this blew me away with most of the fight sequences. Even the grounded ones where the Hyuga and Kanata, the two characters who are the thugs. Kanata, I thought at first would be like the redemptive one, but he kind of doesn't do that as much as I thought.
His redemption is if anyone is familiar with JoJo, since we were talking about that all weekend. Giorno, the part 5 JoJo, who is Dio's son, is trying to be a gangstar, which means he's going to be a gangster with a heart of gold. He's going to start his own mafia for the children. And that's essentially what Kanata is. He's going to destroy the Yakuza and get them off his streets so that he can run it with his thugs, because he's a good boy.
Admirable, but he is one of the more brutal characters, surprisingly. And I was entertained because the swagger he carries is something, and here's where I think I mentioned it to you, where I kind of got thrown through a loop every time in every one of his scenes, because had I seen this first, I would have seen the Subaru character that in Revice as what it was, a legit ripoff of this character. Every aspect of Subaru in Revice, the actor guy, is this Kanata one.
It's not Subaru, by the way. You guys should know that. It's not Subaru.
No, it's not Subaru. It just looks just like him.
Yeah.
They modeled his look, his swagger, his speech it was such a blatant ripoff. I got so mad. I'm like, not only are you a piece of shit, but you're also a hack. Like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad that I even felt anything now. Like, fuck you.
Well, yeah, I'm not talking about Subaru anymore. He's not even worth my time.
That's true. But anyway, it's just.
So Kaneda and Hyuga are the thugs, like we said, and Kaneda is trying. They've known each other since middle school. That's their bond. Same thing. Their childhood. I don't know if friends is the word, but they're Yusuke and Urameshi. That's the best equivalent I can give it. They've known each other forever, Hyuga? But they also just Amo. Fight each other.
Amo and Kaneda.
Yeah, Hyuga Amo.
Because Hyuga, Ryosuke Amo. Oh. Hyuga is the guy with the blades, right?
Is it? I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Whatever. Amo. There you go. Amo.
Whatever. We'll get the words right. These characters.
Either way, Amo and Kaneda, they're Yusuke and Urameshi. They've known each other since middle school. Their thing is they just beat the piss out of each other. It's friendly competition that isn't friendly kind of thing. They just beat the ever-loving piss out of each other. So Amo is fighting for some random kid who's getting bullied, I think, and then Kaneda just rolls up on them or something like that. Like, it was very strange. Like, Amo is almost like a muscle for hire in the town where they're like, hey, I need help. And he just goes and beats the piss out of people. So their whole thing, they can hold their own. They beat up a whole bunch of Yakuza in the first round, and they spend most of the rounds just beating whatever comes at them. Like, they usually survive with little to no problem because they're so good at fighting. And their
I
whole
don't think
thing
they figure
is
anything out.
Yeah,
they just do.
Yeah, they don't care about the story. They don't care about like wishes, whatever. They're just like, I think they have a bet of something like Kaneda says, if I survive, you get to help me, kind of thing, or something like that.
You help me with my dream. Yeah, something like that.
So something like that. They have like that kind of thing going on, that dynamic, and it literally, like, they have their theory, their approach to the game doesn't change at all throughout the entire show. Can I punch it? Cool. I'm gonna do it. I'm
gonna punch it then.
I'm gonna punch it.
Or I'm gonna body slam it, or I'm gonna power bomb it, or I'm gonna clothesline it, or I'm gonna German suplex them.
Amo is a straight up grappler, and I fucking love it. And my man makes gauntlets. So in the second round, they are all given a piece of equipment that, like I said, could transform into whatever they wish. So we mentioned it, Kuon and Hoshiai, they make their sword that they bonded over, their little broadsword thing, which for a very long time I thought was the Garo sword, but it's not. I thought it was like a repaint of the original. Yeah, my bad. And so, like, Kozuki, who we haven't talked about yet, makes this really crazy blade knife that we'll talk about because it's very important to the character.
Projectile blade.
Yeah, wild. And then we have another character that does like the raptor claw knives. He gets two of them. My man Amo over here though just gets fucking metal on the back of his fists. They're not knuckles. They're not like brass knuckles. It's just literally metal on the back of his hands.
Yeah,
and that's what he rocks with. And then I think Kaneda makes like a bat.
Yeah, but a nice one. It's a nice black bat.
It's a nice steel bat that clinks real good when he bonks people with it.
And that noise was oh god. Listen, the shout outs to the sound team, because each punch, each effect is such a crunch and squish. You're like, ooh, god damn. Especially when when he starts to beat the dude, when he hits them twice in the head. That double tap. Okay.
Wild.
So so they get this stuff, and the whole time the objectives of the games are simple. That one in particular is find the gate and escape. They go through the whole thing and they don't even realize. All these characters are like struggling to kill each other. They don't even realize that as they're killing each other, they're leaving like fucking loot keys, and that's the key you need to open the door. And nobody takes a second to realize that except Hoshiai the first time. And that's where anyway, it just ties back to the whole thing where even the littlest moments are important to the overall story, because the people we see who notice this are the ones that carry the rest of the story, because that's so early. I think that's like the second game.
And at that point, Kuon also notices something, because that's how he actually survives this game. He notices that like they didn't have to fight at all. So there's usually some kind of not necessarily a loophole, but there's another way to do this that people are ignoring because their nature is, hey, only someone can survive. But so with these objects that can turn into whatever they wish, no one thought to just turn it into the key to get out of the level. No one thought of that. So he ends up doing it, and that's how he survives. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you just think outside the box, I guess, even though Amo and Kaneda, they're outside the boxes, what else can I hit?
That would have worked up until the last few games, because it then becomes literally
just fight.
Only one of you was making it out of this bitch. So just whittle it down.
The last two games, I believe, are literally just fight.
Deathmatch. Yeah.
So we get to the last 8, I think it was, when they get the demon sword, because this is going to put a cherry on Kanata and Amo. Essentially, there's a demon sword that... do you recognize what that time comes from? The 99.9 seconds?
Isn't that the clock for the transformation?
Yes. So essentially what it is they get a demon sword that they're told gives them unlimited power for 99.9 seconds. And after that, they will become possessed by a demon and go berserk.
It's like, as soon as you grab this, you got to kill that motherfucker quick.
Like,
otherwise...
Run. Like, grab it and run.
Otherwise, you turn into a Dark Souls hollow. Yeah. Literally. You become an undead.
Yeah.
That sounded horrifying. It's like, they were like, oh, you die? No. Do you become a horror? No, neither.
Yeah.
You become a fucking hollow. And they make that sound so much worse.
You're just like a walking rage machine at that point. That's pretty much what it is. And so... what this 99.9 seconds is a reference to is in the original series, the Kogaverse. He could only be transformed for 99.9 seconds, or else he would go berserk. And eventually he gains the power to go past that and could just keep it on as long as he wants. But he does eventually fall to that 99.9 seconds. And it has to do with all the armors using the same energy source as the horrors. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. So the armors are made of Makai metal. It's essentially soul metal. And it is made of the same base material.
That's why. Okay, so they do reference a thing called soul metal and dark metal. Yes. Got it. Okay, so
soul metal in the Garoverse is typically what the metals, like the swords, the armors, all that stuff is made out of, which is refined Makai energy, which is what horrors are made of. So with that, at a certain point, you have the same potential, problems with it. And that's where this 99.9% or time comes from. And so if they grab this sword, they have to, within 100 seconds, defeat whatever it is. They don't really say what it is. There just has to be 4 left, I think. So you have 100 seconds to take out as many as you need till there's 4 left. And at this point, we're talking about you were correct. It was Ren Hyuga is the other character.
Yeah, Ren Hyuga is
that Amo and Kanata are fighting. He's this. There's not much to him. He flips. He does some daredevil shit.
Isn't he a regular murderer? Like he
murders and is hiding, and he jumps into the game to murder more people. That's his story. He doesn't change too much. He's the problem they have to figure out.
Yeah, there's one moment where they like before the finals, after Kuon is like, we can work this out, and they're all meeting at the bar of Amo, and he just strolls in and he's like, chill, I'm being patient, I could kill you guys right now, but it's more fun when you're stronger in the game. Okay, so don't make me kill you right now because I just want to have fun, damn it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Like, he is Goku, but insane and wants to murder. That's what it is.
Yeah.
He's evil Goku. That's a
good way to put it. Yeah, evil Goku.
He's evil Goku.
Kanata makes the ultimate G move and takes up that demon sword because he's like, we're going to die.
Because my man crane stanced on Amo's head. We have to talk about this fight because this fight's absolutely insane. It's in my opinion, the worst fight in the entire show.
We won't do it justice though, because even as
listen, we fucking talked about Zaborgar for 2 hours. We can do this shit justice.
Fair enough. Good choice. Good point. All right. So of the wire foo, this is the most over the top. I'll give you that because Hyuga's doing some wackadoo flippy shit, and
which he normally does. He's usually doing the like flip kicks, the
taekwondo
make no sense.
Kicks. Yeah, like he's doing taekwondo and really doing a hell of a number on most of the characters. Like that, I'm not gonna take that away. He's beating ass justifiably, and then he gets these fucking hand sickles, man, like
literal raptor claws.
And he rips there. I think it's twice that they show it, but there's
one where he just starts going
like you're seeing the dude, and like I would fall. If you fell, he would stop. The guy's just standing.
No, he's just holding him up with the hooks.
It's so dope. So dope. But anyway, so he's fighting Amo. He's fighting the both of them actually. And
he's fighting both of them at the same time.
Yeah, he's beating both of their asses. Kanata gets like KO'd or sidelined for a second.
Yeah, he gets like knocked and does the anime slide or some shit.
Yeah, it's one of those typical things where it's just so that he could get the perspective of this fucking crane stomp. Like,
So that's literally what it is. So Kanata gets knocked away. So Amo and Hyuga are fighting, and they're doing their thing. And then Amo goes to like punch or something, and he like flips out of the way. And I posted the GIF on Twitter. If you guys saw the post, it's on Twitter. He literally 1 foot lands on his head like a goddamn old grandmaster
like
kung
bison.
fu.
It's the bison stomp.
It's basically the bison stomp, but he doesn't actually stomp. He just stands there for a second.
Yeah, it's just,
he doesn't do anything. Amo like goes to grab him, and he like flips off and then dives downwards. With he tries to Psycho Crusher without the spin.
That's what it was going with. That's what it was. It was like the cross chop.
Yeah, he just cross chops with the knives. But at this point too, this is where the ADR fails. What I was talking about. At this point, there's like slow-mo shots and Hyuga's saying things, but it's all ADR, so his mouth isn't fucking moving at all. But he's like, I'll kill you.
But they were embracing the fucking anime, man. They were like, it's just anime enough. Let's just go for it, right?
I guess, but like, just give me speed lines or some shit at that point. Like, that's literally all this scene needed was some speed lines, and I'd be like, that's just a My Hero fight. What the fuck are we looking at?
They were a key blast away from an anime. That's all I'm saying.
That's literally what it was. Like, if he at one point they actually to get to the level of anime this gets to at one point outside of the suits. Mind you, again, this is all outside of suits.
Everything is outside of suits. Don't forget that, guys.
We're going to talk about the anime in the suits, but outside of the suits, they literally throw swords at each other that clash and bounce back at one point.
A shockwave bounce back at each other. It's like an impact. It's like, wow.
This is so anime. It's ridiculous. And it's so entertaining at the same time.
They almost justify that with a moment where we haven't even talked about the main villains. But mind you, this whole game is being held because once upon a time, a butthurt Makai cadet who couldn't pull the Garo sword out of the fucking stone himself because he's a piece of shit crybaby who saw his other friend kill himself, because he made fun of him. Well, the other guy did. Either way, they were making fun of him because he wasn't as good, even though he was the lineage, which I guess was kind of the tie to the Makai thing. He was the lineage character who was supposed to be good at everything, but he wasn't. So he fucking offs himself, and they fucking show like the aftermath, and he's like,
the actor moving slightly,
yeah, but you could see like the effect there, like that's what they like that. Oh, anyway, it was
like he was holding the sword and like slid his neck down it, kind of thing,
and he died midway through, and it was still anyway. So anyway, the fact that happened, he couldn't pull the sword out, got butt hurt. Fast forward 20 years, he's introduced, or at that moment that he couldn't pull the sword out, he's so pissed off that he attacks the original Makai priests, right? There's this big Santa Claus ripoff with the bald head, and then two of the priestesses who basically help the guy run the tournament. And they do like the same thing. It's 100 cadets that kill each other
it's
one
the
by
Garo
one.
ceremony. That's what it is. It's 100 cadets fight to the death to see who's going to become the next Garo. So we're down to the last four when this shit all goes down.
This guy's name is Shosetsu Hagiri, the one that is trying to pull the sword out and can't. He gets so pissed off, and there was a story that they tell, the only English part that they speak in the whole
You talking about the myth at the beginning of the episode? Okay. So I want to get back to that because it comes back to, it has nothing to do with the fight. Let's finish the fight.
But, okay.
Yeah, but because that actually ties to the first season as well.
Really?
That myth. Okay. That's where I was talking about where I think it has a tie to the first season. So I want to get into that.
All right.
To finish the attack, essentially one of the bad guys like beefs up this knife kid, and Amo or Kanata like have even more trouble with him. So Kanata grabs the demon blade to start swinging at him, and he tries his best, and he knocks him out. He takes him out. Kind of. He takes him, he knocks him away for a minute. He gets the upper hand, but that's when the clock hits 0 and Kanata starts going berserk. And that's when this kind of less impactful Hoshiai moment starts. Like this is his clock starts going down. You know what I mean? Like you guys probably understand what I'm saying with that.
Yeah.
So Amo comes over and literally punches the sword out of his hand. And that apparently stops his demoning. I don't know how that works.
I think they had to do it because they wanted to do one more flashback. They wanted to show that it, and I think to show that it's not a one-time thing, because what you get here is the proof that if you can achieve the goal, you're all right.
Yeah.
Like, because it ends up being that Amo ends up picking it up after.
Yeah,
Oh,
he tries
God.
to anyway. He picks it up and then just drops it like immediately. They all kind of pick it up for a moment and then put it down.
Kuon does it because Kuon's the best at everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get that the corruption within him was already to the point that it wasn't much of a sacrifice for him to pick it up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like but I didn't like that he picked it up justifiably. You know what I mean? Like they put, like, he channeled, like you said, they give Hoshia that one moment again, but it didn't do anything. I didn't think it went anywhere.
No.
Like, because immediately the next episode, it's right back to Kuon doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Like, but
so, yeah, he just like main characters the fucking sword, and then he takes Kanata out. He's the one Kuon takes Kanata out.
Yeah.
And then, well, he knocks him away, I should say, and then Amo is the one who cuts him down permanently. Yeah. And so that's kind of, they have their moment where, like, Kanata's like, hey man, do it before I go undead, whatever. And Kuon's losing his mind because one other person died because of him and all this bullshit. And at the same time, that's when we get literally the worst ADR moment in the entire thing. And then he tries to do another Psycho Crusher dive in slow-mo, but the voice is talking normal. So his mouth is like, but he's like, I will destroy you wherever you stand. Like a full monologue while his mouth is slowly moving.
it's true. I mean, it is distracting, but it's just, I mean, what else can we expect? It's like, they embrace the anime in that moment so fully that I bought into it. Maybe if I watch it again, it's gonna be so jarring that I'm gonna be like, oh god. But I was digging it.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, they beat the piss out of this dude, and that's the end of that. I forget exactly how. I think Amo body slams him again because he just fucking power bombs everyone. That's literally, so any problem Amo has, it turns into him doing some kind of wrestling move to them. And the problem disappears. He is my hero. It's beautiful.
I can't get enough of how they consistently, each character had their own fighting style.
Yeah. And
they made it up. I don't know, like they didn't break away from it. You know what I mean? Like every fight that they had, it you could tell who was fighting who.
Yeah.
Kuon was, even though he was using a sword most of the time, they implied that he was like super strong, like a Chad.
Yeah. Like his thing, I guess he's kind of like he just physically is strong. So he would just like punch the piss out of people and they'd go rolling away.
Yeah.
And then who else do we have? So Kanata just, it did a lot of flying drop kicks. I'm just saying. Kanata's move was to run and jump and drop kick people while Amo's fucking power bombing them. So that was just entertaining to watch. And then we didn't talk about Nagumo and Kazuki yet, but Kazuki is kind of a, I don't know what to call it.
My second favorite character. I'm telling you.
And then Nagumo is apparently just a CQC badass that knows MMA and all this Salat shit. Like,
I mean, of them, he was the YouTuber, right?
Yes, Nagumo is a YouTuber. So yeah. we haven't talked. That's the end of Kanata and Amo's shit for the most part. Nagumo is
then Amo goes on to be the last against.
Yeah. So in the last round we have, because basically all the characters we're talking about right now, and they have a final little battle royale thing. But Nagumo is a YouTuber who is super popular. His producer is a dick, to say it lightly, and it's forcing. He's forcing Nagumo and Nagumo's friend, I guess, compatriot, assistant, whatever, to play this game to get a story and get views, essentially. Right. So he wears these contacts that record stuff. All this kind of stuff. And essentially this is what we were talking about before, where like at one point they have a disagreement and the one dude is like, get me out of here, I'm done with this. They log him out. He wants
to go solo. Yeah, wait, no, not that one. It was the same character that wanted to go solo, or was
I think so, something like that. He's like, I'll get my own views, all that shit. I don't need a producer. Like it's implied that the producer is more of like a Yakuza figure kind of thing. Like he's a very abusive, controlling, you're gonna do this for me, period. And eventually the producer's offed and he doesn't matter. I don't even know his name. I don't care, honestly. He's not important.
They had names.
I'm sure they did at some point or another. And Nagumo continues. He eventually becomes the one trying to figure out what's really going on with this game. And he's investigating. He ends up talking to that game we were talking about, the original contest that started this whole thing. He ends up talking to the only other survivor of the contest, who is now a dad and owns a flower shop and does his own thing, and he's trying to learn
that,
who this is.
That was jarring. I don't think that was. It was so. One, it was like
poorly explained.
Of course, he went on to do that, but why?
Yeah.
Like, like, how did he go from being that elite? Because that in the flashbacks, he was the one character that was even more dickish than the dickhead. You know what I mean? So it was like, why would they do that with him? And they didn't even justify it. They just gave him a kid.
But now he has a heart of gold. That's the important part. Okay.
That got ripped out of his fucking throat.
Yeah.
We still haven't even talked about Azami. How have we gone this whole time
because
without talking about Azami?
She's cool. Just stop.
Okay. Right.
Azami is our main bad guy. It has to tie with it. Really, the main reason it ties into the whole thing I was talking about, the intro, because that's her origin, essentially. So, Nagamo eventually meets this Azami character who we find out is a badass and essentially a horror, and is influenced by her and possessed by her, and he goes into the final round with everyone. He fights Kuon, like that's his main opponent in that one. And they have a tussle. Nagamo, like I said, has some kind of crazy Salat background that we apparently don't need to know about. He's just Muay Thai elbowing and shit.
Which kind of worked out. I mean, the ones that make it obviously can fight because they do have they sprinkle in a bunch of characters that are like the in-betweeners that you have these moments of triumph that they are immediately off by. I think of the one that I am a hero.
Yeah.
He gets
the one is
yanked.
some little like otaku dude who's like Galactic King Supreme Fish or whatever, and he's like, I'm a hero, and then immediately gets murdered by a yakuza.
He gets off like immediately, and it's like it was like expected because you saw it happening, but at the same time you're like, oh god, I'm so sorry, bro. You just peaked.
So, and then all right, let's talk about Kozuki, because that's kind of Nagamo's thing. He just figures it out. Okay. He figures out the exposition. That's what he does.
Kozuki, again, the duplicitousness that the character starts out with is, I'm sorry, like I know I'm how do I put this? I'm not above. No, well, yeah, that's true. But I am not above stooping to tactics to get to survive. You know what I mean? And Kozuki literally pulls every move that my moral compass is like, you shouldn't, but my instinct is like, no, do that.
Let's go.
I'm like, let's fucking go. But because of how he embraced. After dropping the facade, he gets confronted about being this copycat hypocrite, because it's true that he developed his career by copying a better or a more well-known model. And
model, fashion designer, kind of that whole both situation. Yeah.
And then because of that, they go in a different direction by trying to build a legacy off of it, because this character is like this enigmatic, nobody talks to them. The other model that he's idolizing didn't do half of the shit that they do, so they don't understand how much more above that they are already, but they still are enthralled with this obsession with being better. And when they finally meet the guy who ends up being another competitor in the contest, who's an amazing martial artist,
and apparently he's a wushu master, like straight up has the gown, like the shibao on and everything. Like he's just rocking it. He's just a wushu master apparently.
Was it? I couldn't make it out. Was it a straight sword? Or
it was like a hero, like nameless hero kind of thing. Nameless.
Okay,
so it was like that kind of straight, like a Tai Chi sword.
Okay, that's what I thought, because he definitely, again, it was just furthering the point that the badasses are badasses for a reason, and everybody's there for a justifiable reason. But so the best part is like, I think that was the moment that Kozuki made the decision. Obviously, joining, they were convinced that they had to kill Umi to be better than them, but you could tell that it wasn't a sure decision on how to go about that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it was just like
it was always there. This game just made them, like you said, justify
embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So you get that moment where Kozuki plays along and pretends to be this demure, semi-helpless thing.
Super fan, essentially. Like, it's just like, oh my God, you're so great. I look up to you.
Starstruck, everything.
You're the reason my career is the way it is. I look up to you so much. And the guy's like, cool. Like, yeah, you can I'll help you out. Yeah, great. And then
this is still early enough where we're still figuring out that the keys are the things. Yeah. The keys are the trick, because when Umi discovers that they drop keys, switch. They go for it.
That's right. So he goes, he finds out you get keys from like players dying. So he goes to kill Kozuki and, is ready to strike Kozuki down from behind. And Kozuki just fires this switchblade. You find out that the little knife that they made, it fires the blade into his chest and kills him instantly.
Yeah. And it's like,
what?
What? Because even the surprise is on Umi, and Umi's like, what just happened to me?
Yeah, Umi's like, why does my chest hurt? Oh my God.
Okay, I'm gonna, you fucking dick. And it was like the whole time, Kozuki was just waiting for the opportunity.
Yep.
And it's like, after that moment, they never go back to being anything other than that.
Yep. They are that trick weapon. That's what they are.
Yeah, and it's just like you see one thing, but it's actually another, and it's so well done throughout the entire. I'm telling you, bro. Every back, because like I mentioned before, they're the reason that we discovered that the buttons are the trigger to these neck collar devices, because he just randomly goes and let's see what it does.
That's the first game where they are like, yo, I'm gonna fucking embrace it and do what I gotta do to survive in this bitch, and then he walks over and goes, I wonder what that does. Boop.
And she's like, you should be thanking me. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm saying she because they're so convincing appearance-wise female.
They're like acknowledged to be androgynous, and they use they and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that's why I get switched up, because I was just like, some scenes, and this is another point of that, is like some scenes when they were more demure, obviously they put on more of the
feminine qualities.
Feminine, and then in the moments of savageness, you saw the brute violence that the more masculine side was. And there's a backstory where they're carrying this doll the entire time, and this doll is something that they sewed as a child to help cope with the trauma that their mother was beating them every day. Like this character got beatings from their mom so much that they had to stuff those feelings into this doll to cope with it.
Not to mention being bullied in school and stuff too. Like they were bullied, they had a shitty childhood all around.
and that on top of the fact that they then had this hero complex that was ruined. You know what I mean? Like it was such a refreshing character, even though they were a complete evil character. I was like, I get that there's no redeeming this character anymore, because once they embrace that, they're like, yeah, you should just fucking kill everybody. Why are we hesitating? Like, let's just do this.
That's really what it is. It's like, why not kill them,
But it becomes a struggle, because as they whittle down, those underhanded tactics won't work on these better characters.
These ones that kind of like see that stuff coming at this point.
Right, yeah. And that's when ultimately Kozuki meets his end, because he's put up against Amo, who's this brick wall. You know what I mean? He is so unshakable that even though he's like the Vegeta, he gets his ass kicked and takes an L, he doesn't give up. And
because he can power bomb people.
and that's what happens to poor Kozuki. Kozuki gets straight up arm bombed. Like their fight is brutal because they fuck each other up. Kozuki also fights with the palm strikes. Like it was Neji. It was like
they started in the fight before that too. So there's the round before that. Also, Josh, thank you for the bits, dude. What's going on? Welcome. We're talking about a cool toku thing, like we normally do.
Little ditty.
But the fight before that, we kind of see this is really the first fight where like Kozuki has to square up. You know what I mean? Like this is the first time. So it's the first round of this battle royale. So we have the demon sword, and it's after that. So we have 6 people left. I think they had to get down to 4 or something like that, or 8, whatever it is.
8.
And so we have a couple of the people that we've seen throughout the show just kind of there, like they're, like you were saying, they're the padding to like get from point A to point B, kind of deal. So Kozuki has to fight one of them, and they do one of the most genius things I could think of, honestly, because they're using this little knife. They go between shipping crates so that the katana that this other person is using doesn't fucking work. And
now,
so,
about that katana, like that took me out of that fight.
We're not going to talk about how much it wiggled like a goddamn
pool
noodle.
It was a wiggly boy.
There's like wushu wiggle, and then there's pole noodle wiggle. This is pole noodle.
That was a wet noodle wiggle.
That was a wet ass noodle.
But anyway, it worked because it made the confined things. It made like maybe it was gonna break. Yeah, we'll go with that. So
let's go with that. Sure.
I was like, okay, but they get the better of them because they do the flippy shit and they're doing all this like ninja attacks to get the better of them.
Literally straight up like Van Damme, legs between the crates and just heading up there and swiping with a knife, and then
that's why
you're seeing more of the martial arts stuff.
That's why I like Kozuki a little bit more, because they were able to also fight. You know what I mean? It wasn't just that they were underhanded and backstabbing. It's like, yes, they could, but if you wanted to fight them, they had the hands for it.
And this is obviously from the game. Like we said, the game gives them what they wish for. And at this point, they wanted to fight. They wanted to kill. So they got the ability to do all this stuff.
So they're doing, there's another good point, and this is where they get that conviction from. It's like they're doing an interview and they got everything they want. They have the fame, they have the attention, they have all this stuff, and yet they're not being themselves. And that's when it's like, you know what? I want to live. In the middle of an interview, she's like, I'm gonna live, and that's all there is to it. I'll do whatever I gotta do. And everybody has one of these moments in their arcs where they're like, that's it. I'm just gonna if I have to kill,
do what I gotta do.
I'm just gonna do what I gotta do, and they do it. And that's what I'm talking about. That from that moment they don't pull back. And I like that so much. There's no, oh, maybe I'm doing a wrong thing, oh, maybe this, oh, maybe that. No, it's straight up like, let's fucking go.
It was cool to see, like you were saying, like, there was the game version and then there was the real life version, and it literally during an interview that they're taping, they just embrace the game version, and like their real character comes out where they're like, literally none of this means anything. I'm gonna survive.
They put a needle to somebody's eye before making that statement.
In a dressing
room. They put a guy up against the wall and they're like, are you listening? Because I'm about to say something.
Don't move or you'll lose your eye. Because a bunch of after they walked off, all the reporters wanted to know, like, why? What's going on? What's this? And that's when he jacked him up. Like, it's wild.
But so fast forward, you get all that stuff with this character is what drove the very ending of their time home for me, because you could tell like everything that they did, everything, how they are, what they operate, like how they think, is based on this trauma of wanting to survive and doing whatever it took to do it, splitting their personality into a doll so that they can survive until they meet fucking Amo. And God, Amo literally punches him to death. Like,
Amo literally punches through the rabbit to punch him. And then Kazuki's trying to fight. They're getting beat up more and more. They start spitting blood. At one point, Kazuki punches. Amo grabs his arm and punches his elbow, and you see it snap in the opposite direction. And I was like, please give me a muscle buster. That's the last thing. If Amo did a muscle buster right now, you would be hands down my favorite character in Toku. Hands down, but he didn't.
No, they focused more on making us feel like shit. I don't know. I did. I'm like, damn. I feel.
Amo was like, we're gonna take this to the ground. I feel bad. Just lay down. I'm gonna end this all for you. I'm just gonna just sleep. Just sleep.
When they went, because everybody digitizes and then fucking evaporates. When they went, I realized that I didn't care who won at that point. Like, I knew Kuon was gonna win, but I didn't care because my emotional dump was in that character. So that's why it was my second favorite character, because my first was Hoshiai. Even though they were there for a little bit, I feel like they were the only good character. They were the only one there, not for a selfish reason. And we didn't get to see that.
That's a good way to put it, actually. That was interesting. I never really thought about that. They're literally the only like good person in this competition, and they are off halfway through the show. So
it sucked.
It's kind of wild. Like, not even our protagonist is like the pure-hearted justice boy that you would think a Tokusatsu protagonist would be. He's no Takeshi Hongo, that is for sure. So
no, he's more like a Onore Dikedo.
So Yeah, that's pretty much wraps up the main competitors. In the last fight, just so you guys know, Kuon ends up fighting Nagumo, who's possessed by Azumi, who we'll get to in a minute.
Azami, god damn, this character.
Yeah, that's how that happens. And then Amo and Kuon have to fight each other because they have to fight till there's only one left. And Kuon still can't bring himself to kill Amo. And that's how it kind of leads into the last part, which ties into the big fight we were talking about. But let's talk about Azami for a second, because she's very important to this story. And we get one of the coolest things in Garo, which is the animated openings. And
yeah, okay, that's a good point.
Where fear lurks and terror reigns.
I liked it worked. It was the only English part, and I was thrown because I thought like my system switched. I'm like, did I just change this to the dub? What happened?
Nope.
And I'm like, okay, so I let it rock. And the myth is okay. It's not bad. I guess the idea.
Have you ever heard speaking of the myth, have you ever heard the original opening for Garo? The fucking speech?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to send a video to you. Well, I'll put it in the Discord, but we're going to watch it for everyone watching live. We're going to check it out.
Okay.
This is where the myth originated. This is where it all kind of started. This whole animated thing.
Okay. I see.
So this is where it starts.
Where there is light, shadows lurk and fear reigns.
All in English. It's fucking cool.
Oh.
Mankind was given hope.
So it's basically stylized.
It's referential to it. It's referential to the original opening. That's where it comes from. So we get this story about how at some point there was a Makai Knight who was the most powerful of them all, I believe is the way they put it. And at some point there's a event that happens every 500 years that throws this through discourse, and they are killed. And so
they get overwhelmed by demons or horrors or
by
something
horrors,
like that,
So apparently there's essentially like a horror apocalypse that happens every 500 years or so, and they are killed, and not before putting a baby in someone. And because this baby is horror driven in an apocalypse, a bunch of dark energy goes into this womb.
Negative
Karma. Essentially.
Karma. Yeah, it's karma.
And it congregates in this baby, and when they are born, they are essentially half horror, half human. But they are able to they call it controlling the darkness. They can control Makai power and horrors and things like that, like nobody's business. And they have cool red hair, and I don't know. They got kind of intimidating. They got an energy. They got an energy.
She's every bit of horrible that you can make it. Like I can't deal with how much I'm upset at this ending.
Yeah.
Because she gets away with it. You know what I mean? Like this is literally fun for her. Everything that she does is fun.
I was gonna say one thing I noticed watching it a second time that I didn't notice the first time, because I was watching it week to week last time, which we were just talking about that. You know, sometimes you just take shows differently when you watch it in chunks as opposed to week to week.
Exactly.
I didn't realize she's wandering around talking to everyone at the beginning of the first couple episodes. I didn't realize that was her, like who's the producer, who's, you know, the reporter, who's all of these people. I didn't realize that was her. So it's very cool because she's very much like the chess master, right? Like she's moving all the pieces the way that she wants the game to play out, because she is literally an agent of chaos. She just wants to watch the world burn in the coolest way possible.
And it's alarming because it's like she is also incredibly powerful. Like it is no joke that the horrors that we mentioned before that were offing people in like 2 seconds where they could just absorb them. They were being restrained by these things called mystic tools, where they were just, you know, winding
magic
them down
gear
to like
nerf them. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's a digigear. But she had direct control of how the limiters would work. At one point, the guy's like, why don't you loosen the reins a little bit? Because one of the characters manages to grab one of the horrors.
Amo
for like
gets
a second.
Cocky.
Amo gets cocky and is able to grab it. And as soon as he does, he goes, loosen it a bit. She does this eye flashy thing, and it just like all right, enough. With just the arm extension, does like a shockwave that sends him reeling into
almost
a wall,
kills
probably.
him. It's the only reason he survived is because the Hoshii shit pops off. That is the only reason he survived.
Yeah, because we had the other character that needed to go, but if it would have been, if it would have been any other character, it would have legit killed them.
Yeah.
So you get that, and that's just what she did with her eyes. You know what I mean? Like all she did was like, okay, and it gets, because all of them building up to the point where you have the flashback where the guy 20 years before, the same dude who's holding the tournament, the failed Garo dude, he is pissed off at the dudes, at the Makai priests, and he's cursing them. And she shows up as a kid because she was being left under the care of a nanny who basically was like her pseudo mother.
So they had a Makai priest watch over her because they know how powerful she is. So Makai priest is kind of taking her under her wing and just watching out for her. And so they both come back to this headquarters, whatever, because that's a common thing in the Garo series too. There's a headquarters. And also the head priest had 2 girls in white. That's also a very common thing in the Garoverse. The Garo Knights usually answer to these twins that are usually in white, and that's where they get their missions from, things like that. That's where they get their assignments. So it was a harken back to that as well, which is cool to see. There's a lot in this show that kind of is like, yep, nope, this is Garo. See, all the pieces are here. It's presented differently, but all the pieces are here.
Yes, and I liked it because it the moment that you see the Makai guys, you get the implication that they're doing something good in a bad way because of the whole sacrifice 100 people. So I get where the guy calls them out on their shit.
Yeah, it's like for the greater good kind of thing.
Yeah. But so we get this moment where Azami is just strolling about like she does, finds out that she's interested in the whole situation at first, and she's like, okay, I want to go check this out. So she goes and checks it out and sees that he's finally pissed off at them, and she's like, oh, that looks interesting. That's corrupting that armor up there, and they're fighting for the Garo armor, and this negative energy is flowing into the Garo armor and creating this the dark metal.
Dark metal, yep.
Yeah. So she gets a piece of it, and she's like, ooh, what's this? This is dope. And her mom, it's like, what's going on here? What are you doing? And she gets fucking ganked by these dark metal shards.
Yeah, Asami makes these darts and just fires them into her mom.
And you can tell these barriers that they create have some kind of substance to them, because it's like it took a second for it to get through, but only a second. So it's that level of horror that you see how powerful this chick is, because she's supposed to be only like a 13-year-old person. Yep. But immediately following that, she's intrigued in him being pissed off at the Makai guys, and he throws a sword that's been she powers up his sword with negative karma, and he chucks it at them, and it turns into a serious Saitama punch.
So he chucks this shit at the head priest, and it fires through his chest. He
puts up the barrier, which is supported by the 2 priestesses that, and they're struggling against this impact. Yep. And they're like, you could see like it doesn't even do like the back and forth. It is straight like struggle for like a second, and then you're fucked. They're like, they get Saitama punched, and they leave a gap in this mountain and parting in the clouds, and it's like, what the fuck?
They were like, oh, this dark karma shit, we should fucks with this. We should definitely fucks with this. So that's what the plan is eventually revealed, that they're not necessarily trying to find a new Garo. They're trying to make a dark metal version of Garo. They're trying to make a negative karma armor.
Because he couldn't get the armor.
Because he couldn't get Garo. Yeah.
Right.
So that's where this whole thing is. They're trying to collect negative energy. They say suffering, hate, anger, all this stuff feeds into the armor that's creating this doppelganger negative armor. And like you were saying before, it's corrupting the Garo armor, but they're sucking that dark metal out and creating their own armor.
They're siphoning it, so it's like it's still there, and that's what ultimately ends up being the deciphering factor. I do have one serious question.
Yeah.
What was that Deus Ex Machina for Kuon?
Which one?
Where he gets the armor.
Because
everything up to that point implied that he still wasn't gonna get it.
Yeah.
Like,
so they kind of imply that you have to be like pure of heart kind of thing to get the armor. That's kind of what it seemed to be. Like, there's no anger, there's no whatever. I interpreted it, other than just being protagonist bullshit, I interpreted it as that he had finally gotten over his bullshit. So that made him, like, big air quotes, worthy. That kind of thing. That's how I was I'm not saying it was well done by any means. Like I said, I had watching it a second time, there was definitely some issues I had with the show that I didn't have the first time. Not necessarily to kill the show, I still loved it, but there's things like that where, like, maybe if they had another episode or two, it could have been explained a little better, that kind of thing, because it's only like even one more episode. It's weird that it's 12 and not 13, because typically
we had an episode that was mostly fighting, and they still managed to trickle in some stuff.
Yeah. And so, like I said, Azami, and do you know the Makai Knights guy's name? The guy who's running the game? Do you remember his name?
Yeah. Hagiri. Okay.
So Hagiri and Azami are, it's the final thing, and Azumi just kind of like fucks off and watches. She comes out of Nagamo and is like, oh, that's fun. Okay, let's see what happens. And
she possesses Nagamo. Oh my god.
Yeah, she possessed Nagamo, and then he gets literally supernatural out of him, and literally becomes a cloud, and like a demon cloud. A cloud
demon. Yeah, a demon cloud. It was Meg. She became Meg for
she just kind of fucks off, and then the rest of the thing plays out, and Hagiri finishes the armor because Kuon's the last one. And the way he finishes it is by picking up Amo and slitting his throat.
Yeah. Slowly.
But also,
while taunting him.
Somehow, Amo can still talk because of ADR.
Let's say that it was a superficial throat slit.
It definitely was, because there's no mark. There was just like red lipstick across his throat.
Yeah. So yeah.
It wasn't real. He was faking it. It was for the greater good. So it was the last episode. While cool to finally see the Garo happen, it felt like it was the weakest of all the episodes, honestly.
I think because we had to take a backseat to the. It's weird to say, but the fact that we didn't have live action detracted from the feel.
They honestly haven't done like real live action suits in Garo for a long time. It's been mainly CGI since they did Ryuga the first time. There might be like one or two instances where they'll have like a shot in the armor, but it's very rare that they have live action armor anymore.
I wonder, because it's heavy, or just because?
Yes, because it's heavy. I believe Mr. Kamen Rider was the actor in the original suit. The original like Koga season 2001 had a ton of. It was a mix. I shouldn't say a ton. It was a nice mix. It was some CG, some in the suit. And it apparently weighed like 120 pounds. The fucking suit. Right.
Yeah.
So he was just like sweating his balls off, couldn't move. It was not safe for anyone to be in it. That kind of thing. So I think they eventually just turned it into CG because they didn't want to make 19 120-pound suits. What's up, Ken? NYCC was fucking surreal. And we went on a whole tangent about it earlier, but I will tell you about it, my dude. It was fucking surreal. It was great. It was amazing. But essentially, what this turns into is like you said, Deus Ex Machina bullshit for Kuon to pull the sword. That.
Because I was not okay with that.
I couldn't.
Really
I can't.
Out of the ending.
And like I said, I interpreted it as maybe he got over his bullshit, and that was okay. So
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't know. So like we said, the Garo sword is like a King Arthur thing where you got to pull it out of a stone. Kuon is able to magically pull it out of the stone because the power of friendship and bubblegum or some bullshit.
The power of love. It was the power of love.
Yeah.
But so
the power of love from all his dead friends.
What the counter design, because for those who don't know, the entire thing of Garo is the golden look.
Yes,
this
the golden
shining,
lion.
Brilliant Saint Seiya Saint Seiya amazingly majestic looking.
The brilliant gold armor of Garo, the Lion Knight.
To say the least. Yes, and it's contrasted by the veil armor.
Yes,
which
they call it the
is
Veil armor.
This purplish, dark. It's your typical, when you think of a darker.
The always, again, to be referential to itself, it's always the dark Makai color scheme. It's red and purple, and yeah. So that's its thing. I'm going to pull it up on the screen so people can check out the armors in a second. But yeah, it's red and purple, and it does its red and purple evilness. So
it's just
yeah, like there's always at least once a season, or at least once a universe, we've gotten some kind of dark Makai Knight. They're trying to make their own Garo. They're trying to do whatever. I have it up on the screen for everyone to check out. You can see what the Garo armor looks like. This is a much different design. It's much more tech inspired than the old ones. Usually it's just a golden knight of death and destruction. This particular one is much more, it has Tron lines for anyone, listening to the audio. It has Tron lines. And you can see here, there's a nice little action shot of Veil and Garo doing their big CG Digimon battle. So yeah, it's literally a Dark Wolf theme. It's black and blue and reds and purples and everything evil. It's that kind of thing. So what do you think of this fight?
Again, I think I wanted to feel the visceral impacts that the live action gives, but the fact that I guess I can expect this from most Garos, this super over the top, super sometimes janky looking fights.
Yes and no.
No.
I say yes and no because there is, even from the first season, they go into like the Makai world, and it's always like a big green screened room kind of thing. And then like I've shown you that, like the big dumb horse and the big dumb sword, and I've probably shown you the thing where he like throws the sword and hops on it and bullshit like that. Yeah. We've seen we watched Beast of the White Knight together. Like that kind of nonsense happens all the time. And yeah, it's a weird combination of big CG fights that don't always look this bad. It's weird. So that
it wasn't just me.
No, and I think it had to do with them kind of going with this video game thing. They changed up the style a little bit.
True.
So it's I don't know how to describe it other than video gamey, but it's like an early gen PS3 game is kind of what it looks like. It's like kind of clunky. I didn't get over. There's some fidelity to it. There's surface things, but like it was kind of hard to tell what was going on because the camera was moving constantly. At one point, Kuon in the armor kind of like channels all his dead friends and starts doing different things. Like he does the Ipman punches. He does Kazuki's kind of like palm things. He suplexes this dude. He channel the Amo. I think he drop kicks him at one point to get Kanata in there. Like he goes through the whole gamut, and he even does like some leg locks and elbows and shit to do Nagamo.
It's a 20-minute fight of everything. They throw everything in this fight, and including ki blasts.
The first time I watched this, I thought it was a really cool fight scene. The second time, I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?"
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just thought it took too long, and it was janky, and it didn't have this. Like, I would have preferred that they fought in the flesh and had like flashes of the Garo armor,
which they have done. They did that a little bit. They had that one point when Veil puts him in like a headlock, and they were just kind of in their normal clothes, right? They do stuff like that fairly often when it's like a Dark Makai and a Makai Knight fighting.
Right, they do that. Yeah, you're right, because they do have the cutaways where they're just like talking through the.
Or it'll just be like the mask isn't on kind of thing,
Yeah.
And like they'll have the bodysuit but not the mask and stuff like that. Yes, and they also do just like the upper torso, like holding the sword, that kind of nonsense. Yeah, they do that a lot. That's a very Garo
thing.
But
yeah, so but the fact that it was predominantly this bad CG, it was just too much, and it really by the time it was ending, I'm like, okay, let's just get it, and it was typical. But what pissed me off is that fucking Azami gets away with it, bro.
Because they have to have season 2 potentially.
Azami gets away with it, like legit. He's right there in front of her. I get that even if he tried to, he probably couldn't kill her. But dude,
doesn't even try.
You didn't even try. Like you didn't even curse.
You know what he does? He puts the sword back in the stone and pieces the fuck out.
Like he didn't even go fuck you, Gans. Like, it was just nothing. It's just
literally nothing. He was like, my friends are all dead. I'm gonna go be a hermit now.
walking
boy.
off into the snow where he's obviously gonna make it out because he's in the middle of nowhere in a cold ass field. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Suddenly, all of a sudden, there's snow. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. So ultimately, like, I think the ending tapered off because they didn't embrace what made it so successful. Because the fact that we were building up to this point to get the armor was the entire point of the show. That when we finally get it, it is so underwhelming that it's just a giant finger. That it did wreck the ending a lot. And if it does get a season 2, I hope that at least they fix the CG because they don't need it. They didn't need it at all.
And like I said, that like they've done like pure CG fights in Garo before, and they've looked good. So I don't know if it was a different team, if it was just the director. I don't know what changed, but like this one just didn't look great, and I think it had to do with the video game aesthetic. I think they went because normally they'll do like the super shiny armor, and it looks kind of wild. Like I'll find a CG shot for you of some of the other armors. But
great.
It genuinely doesn't look awful. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, like the Gokai Silver's armor looks great when it's in motion.
Gokai. Oh, but
Gokai Silver is, Ryuga-verse kind of thing. Hang on, I'm trying to find a good picture of the armors. And so, like, the CG just doesn't always look terrible, and it's unfortunate this one did because I liked this season so much. It's you know what I mean? Like, it's unfortunate that it turned into that.
Everything up to that point, though. That's what I mean. Like, everything excluding the way it looked, because they did okay. Like the build up, the payoff, okay, but not great, and it could have been.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, how did you feel about the show overall?
I would definitely watch a second season. I don't care much for the CG, but if you give me again another repeat of this where if the majority of the characters are predominantly live action and they go back to that, I would watch it. But if it's now that Kuon has the accessibility for the armor, they might, fall back on that, and it would ruin the show for me, I think.
So I'm gonna put a picture in the Discord of this is Koga's son. This is one of the more like ridiculous CG armors that he gets. But like this looks okay. It looks pretty good.
It's Devil Trigger.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. It's a combination of his like berserk form and his normal form, but like that doesn't look awful. You know what I mean? Like for being a big dumb CG form, that doesn't look awful. And that's kind of the thing I'm getting at. It's unfortunate.
Is that a sword gun? Gun sword?
I think it's just a big dumb sword because usually when they get this form, it's just a big dumb sword at that point. Like
okay,
Koga literally turns into a fucking dragon slayer. Like. Straight that's up fine. Berserk sword. Like
that's okay.
You know what it is? It's fucking I think it's Requiem, the one that has the hook at the end, like the crescent moon from Sephiroth and Siegfried, or Siegfried and Nightmare. It has the hook at the end. I think it's called Requiem. That's literally the sword that he gets when he gets on his horse. It's cool. Okay. But Versus Road does not get that. So
no. But yeah, I mean, again, I would definitely watch a second season if you told me that they would focus more on the live action shit. But other than that, I liked it. I really did. I could forgive the ending because I enjoyed getting there so much that in my head I'll play it a different way. Like fuck the suits. Let's just fucking throw down here face to face.
Yeah. On the second watch, one of the staples of Garo is the circle that they cut with the sword. I was a little disappointed that he didn't do that for the henshin. I don't know if you remember Koga. He does the like shing and like rips it down, and that's when the armor comes onto him.
Yes.
The circle is one of the coolest parts when it comes to the henshins in Garo for me, because every character does the circle differently. They all have to make the circle. They have to make the portal to summon the armor. And one of my favorite ones is actually in Ryuga's second season, where a guy with a big dumb axe has a dude on the end of it and just rips it in a circle and cuts the thing as he makes the circle. Cool shit like that. Like there was the one, the Quincy type character, the one with the bow. He spins it, does the circle on both sides, comes in from the other sides, that kind of thing. Guy, Gokai Silver, he does his like circle on the ground and like pops it out.
That's one of my favorite ones.
I was excited to see that with this character because I think the suit looks really cool, like the Tron lines and everything. It's just, standing still, like I should say, like when it was there, like, oh, look at the armor. Like I thought it looked really cool. Moving around, it didn't look as cool. But I wanted him to do like a circle of some kind, and he really doesn't. And that was, I mean, I guess the one point he like is tumbling mid henshin, so that's kind of a circle. Oh
yeah,
he's like getting knocked back, and he just like henshins as he anime skids.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's
close enough to a circle, I guess. But yeah, I would highly suggest everyone, if you guys are into Garo or don't really know, maybe not start with this one, because it's kind of like Gaim, where it's going to set a precedent that isn't really with the other seasons. But check it out. It's cool. It's good. The Garo stuff is not as good in this one. Like, it's a good show though. That's kind of what I would say about it. Like it being a Garo is not great. It being a show is good.
Right. If you could title it something else, and
like if they just cut off that last episode and just like made a fight or something at the end, like it would be beautiful.
Yeah.
So, let's get to our hero spotlight, because that's pretty much the end of Versus Road, I think, unless you have any other thoughts on that.
No, we're capped off. We'll put that to bed, and hopefully if the second season comes, we'll check that out too.
Yeah. So I wanted to shout out a mutual on the Twitters, a person who is very good at cosplay. Again, let me give the spiel real quick. Our hero spotlights are really about shouting out the community. The entire point of these things is to highlight people that we have talked to ourselves, just kind of, appreciate the work that they do, that kind of thing. Just, it's all about love and getting them out in the spotlight, like I said. And every week we're going to have one or two people that we shout out. This week, we are going to shout out the one and only Meta Lucy. If you guys follow them on Twitter, you know them as Meta Lucy or Calvin. They are a cosplayer. They just recently had an article with Superhero Time about their cosplay. They are what may be described as a snipe simp. They are huge.
Fair enough.
Yeah. They love it. They cosplay them. They made an amazing snipe suit. It looks so good. Meta Lucy, we've talked a few times. Great person to talk to. I believe they have a podcast with Tokusatsu right now. You guys can check that out as well. But they are at Meta Lucy on the Twitter. If you're looking at the live video, I have it pulled up on the page right now. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. And this is their Superhero Time article, all about their cosplay and what they do in their free time and stuff like that. So please go check it out. They're also an artist. They have their own artist page. You can check them out. Yeah. So Meta Lucy, what's up? Appreciate you. You're our hero of the week, our hero spotlight. So yeah. Again,
the idea is just to share the love, make sure we recognize anybody who's putting any kind of effort into anything, man. Like the effort it takes to make a suit, I can't even fathom. And to make your own from scratch, dude. Like, and to make it look good.
Yeah, no, the suit looks amazing. This helmet looks freaking amazing. And like I said, they're a great person to talk to, and they're fun to talk to, and always starting some Twitter nonsense. So go check them out at Meta Lucy on Twitter. There's all kinds of links in their bio there. You can see some of their editing they've done, things like that. But they also do art stuff. So yeah, go support art. I'm all for, if you guys haven't noticed, supporting artists, like local artists and in the community and things like that. So go check them out. Yeah, that's our hero spotlight. So let's get to a couple of news stories. Like I said, we're like we kind of talked about before as well. We're not going hard as we used to in the news stories, but if there's anything that kind of catches our eye, we're going to talk about it. I do want to see. So, Friends Team Kamen Rider that got us to NYCC had a panel today. It looks like they announced some new toy designs. Or I'm sorry, not toy designs. T-shirt designs that are coming to their store, and a lot of these look really cool. And people are telling me to get the Blade one. So.
Oh, no, really? Why would they do that? That's so wild. Who would think that you would want a Blade shirt?
Yeah, no, it actually is a pretty solid design, though.
That is a nice design.
It's pretty good design. So that's a damn. Wow. Someone was literally like, why is Blade one of the best ones? It's because you fucking know why. That's why. It's because you fucking know. Dave did it for me. He talks all that shit and then gets one of the best t-shirt designs in the whole damn thing. So those are coming to the Amazon store. I have a couple of these shirts already. They're always super good quality. They fit correctly, which is important to me because sometimes when you order t-shirts and stuff offline, it's like you pick your size, but it's like athlete fit, whatever it's called, tight fit bullshit, or it's like Japanese sizes you're unsure. The Team Kamen Rider guys made sure that they are normal ass sizes for us bigger folk. For us mountain folk.
for us Americans. That's what we'll put it.
We were actually talking to Dave about that yesterday a little bit. So it was funny because he wears a couple X's. Because he's a tall dude. Dude's like 9 feet tall. It's crazy. So he's got to get some bigger shirts, and it's always super hard for him to find anything. So he was like, no, if I'm ordering it, you need to make sure it's bigger sizes.
Exactly. And comfort and good quality. So you're getting the whole shebang.
Yeah. A lot of these are revises. Looks like we have all the revice riders, actually, except for maybe George. Yeah, George isn't on here. And then we also have Tajat Eternity on here as well. So
we do.
Yeah, so it looks like we got Revice, Vice, Live, Evil, Sakura, Demons, Veil. There you go, Veil, Holy Live or Veility. I can't tell which one that is. Jack Vice, Thunder Gale. What is that one? I can't tell what that one is. I don't know. Is that Over Demons? Fuck.
That's Over Demons.
That's Over Demons. Aguilera. It looks like we have. I don't know what that one is.
Is that?
It must be their final forms. Yeah, it's Vice's final form and then Revi's final form.
Veil. Is that Veil? I don't know. I think it's Veil.
No, it looks like their final form. It's just only the eyes are highlighted.
I see.
Like
yeah. You're right. You're right. Yeah, never mind.
Yep. And then we got my boy Blade, because we have to include Blade for everything. Demons, Tajat All Eternity, and then it looks like the Tajat All Eternity emblem. So very cool designs. I'm excited to see those.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I would buy that.
Other news things. I really didn't see too much this week. I'm losing my voice because we've been talking for a weekend straight.
Yeah, legit.
So that's that. I don't really have any other ones, honestly, unless you do. So
no, we're good. I think we pretty much hit all the nails on the head. We'll see what builds up over the next week, and then we'll touch back on stuff.
Yeah, they did reveal, personally for the buckles when it comes to Geats and all that, they showed off Ninja, which is Tycoon's new form. I'm excited to get some zombie ninja going on. So,
of course,
we'll see if that shows up in the next week's episode. But I got to catch up on the Geats too. Yeah. A couple episodes behind.
But yeah. So we have our next show is going to be pretty hefty. We have an Indo toku coming, Bhima Satriya Garuda.
Yeah, Bhima Satriya Garuda is our subject for next week. It is an Indonesian tokusatsu, and I believe it is the first official Indonesian tokusatsu.
It looks good.
Official.
It looks good.
Yeah, no, it looks solid.
Pretty. Yeah. So we'll see where that goes from there. But I'm excited to see it because I like this design.
So I'm curious. Yeah. So we'll see.
If anything, that's pretty much it for me. You guys could hit me up 6echoes.se@gmail.com. Send me your creepy pastas. Check out my YouTube, 6 Echoes on YouTube. I have a couple stories put out. I'm always looking to put out a couple more. Other than that, you can catch me here with Carl.
Yeah. I will be putting out the schedule for the week soon enough. We're trying to actually figure that out. I'm going to jump on a Discord call and figure that out for the week. So gonna do that. I'll put that out shortly. We will be back next Sunday. In the meantime, you can catch me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday streaming other nonsense. Sometimes it's toku, sometimes it's whatever my little heart desires. So yeah. We shall see. Make sure you guys hit that follow if you haven't followed. Check it out, twitch.tv/KaijuCarl. You can also follow me at KaijuCarl on all the social media things where we do things. If you want to see pictures from the weekend, we put them all up on like Twitter and stuff like that, so you guys can check out pictures. Yeah. Deuces,
Till next time, guys. See ya.
Bye.